Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to ATI ProMedia. We are powered by advanced trading. The markets move a lot overnight, and there's reasons for that. Where we opened last night, corn, beans, and wheat pretty much opened lower and went lower all night. Extremely light volume. And then, as we note, we have to watch the Europe markets. As Europe opens, that news out of Russia is being digested in the Europe markets. If you're one to watch markets or get up once in a while, pull up the Matif if you don't have quotes like that. Look at bar charts. Search Matif wheat. These jerk ups at night in our border trade, KC and Minneapolis wheat, are coming out of Europe. Last night, corn down, beans down, wheat down. You go to bed and you say, should have sold it Friday. You wake up today and you see corn up 3, beans up 5. That's in no beans. Those were down real good last night. All 3 wheats a little bit ago were up 15 to 20 cents in the board, KC and Mini. Looking at gold is the only commodity on my board that's really down. So an exciting day. I didn't know this morning that this is how this is going to turn out, but I love it. That's what's great about the show. Looking at outside markets real quick, going over the quotes. Dow Jones up another 100. Dow Jones had a heck of a run going on day 7 or 8, I believe. A lot of things going there. With that, let's bring in Connor. Rick, I forgot to ask you to go to LaSalle Street and all this fun stuff, but don't worry. We have many more days of doing this. And I have to tell you, when we're doing a live show, Connor, and we actually have our job to do, we got a lot of things to talk about quickly, and then we got to go to work, my friend. Let's hit it.
Let's hit it. Let's do it. So, first one, right? Markets are up. We're rocking and rolling. Couple headlines, couple things to watch this week. We'll kick it off there. CPI out Wednesday, right, Tommy? That'll be a big one. Make sure we'll be digesting that. Make sure we're paying attention. And the other one I have on my calendar is CONAB is out tomorrow. I think we should have the data live for tomorrow's show, but we'll see. Right? We saw the USDA Friday trim Brazil, Argentina. They trimmed it. They did reduce it, but it wasn't a big jump in my opinion. So it's going to be interesting to see, is CONAB going to continue to reduce it as well? As that gap going to stay wide? So we'll be digesting that this week.
Yeah, on the outside markets, that CPI number could just be a monster, because here we're coming in like 180 days to the election. There's the Fed's kind of got their hands tied now, because if they go getting aggressive for the election, it's going to look weird. If they don't get aggressive for the election and we continue to have inflation, there's no stopping it. So whether this administration continues or if there's a new elected president, or who knows what's going to happen, but we do have inflation. So regardless of your political feelings out there, the facts are we have inflation. Speaking of feelings, all warm and fuzzy feelings with pictures on Friday night. Did you get to stick your head out the window and see some pretty colors?
I did. For me, the sky was just slightly purple. My father-in-law lives in Kentucky. He had some fantastic pictures down there. Could you see it from where you were, Tommy?
Yeah, but when I looked, it was pink, purple. But then when my neighbor showed me, take a picture through your iPhone and look at your iPhone, it was a totally different color scheme. So wonderful, just really cool. Yes, sir.
Oh, I was going to say, you know what I'm seeing with those solar storms is I saw it knocked out some RTK guidance on tractors. I don't know how long or how wide scope. I didn't know anyone personally that it knocked out their guidance, but interesting phenomenon with the, this weekend, we really needed to go like hell, and it'd be very frustrating if we had our guidance system down for even a few minutes.
Yeah, and so the talk on the internet was like G4, G5, strongest in 20 some years, but the timing of it, everyone's like, I got my cooler packed. I'm going to work all night, and they're like, I can't see where I'm going, and I haven't driven without automatic, auto steer for years.
20 years, yeah.
Yeah, and the funny thing was, I did talk to a couple clients up in North Dakota, and the father and the uncle, who are 65 and 55, were the only ones who kept working, because they're like, listen, you knuckleheads, we did this for 30 years. We're going. Maybe the rows won't be perfect, but they're going to get planted.
The planters they still have the markers on, right?
Yeah, and the South African, the South Africans, a lot of farmers I work with, large farms, have South African help. They couldn't fathom, like, how do you drive this machine? Like, they only have worked in America for 3 or 5 years, and that's what they know. Luke, row markers still earn their keep. Yeah, absolutely. The little squeaky wheel going, keeping things in line. Very interesting. You talk about a little black swan or something we couldn't plan for. Hey, we have a huge farm. We got 4 units out planting. We're going solar flare. It's just so 2024. Ever since 2020, it's just yep, solar flares. Enjoy the pictures because we're done for the night.
Yeah. So, given that, let's go. Give us a quick update on North Dakota, South Dakota, even Indiana planning progress for this weekend. I gotta imagine guys went as hard and as fast as they possibly can. We've got rain in the forecast in Central Illinois, but I think we've got. I'm going to call it 2.5 days we've had, so it's going to be interesting to see how much progress was done in that 2.5, maybe 3 day window. What's it like in the Dakotas, Tommy?
Yeah, North Dakota's full blown go Friday night. I think the whole state started up. A lot of the wheat was already in. I would say in the next 10 days, the state of North Dakota will be 80 some percent planted. Beets went in the earliest, one of the earliest they've ever went in. Wheat went in extremely early. People finished up wheat the last few days. An incredible amount of corn and beans going in the next few days. Rain's coming in a few days. I don't even think they'll mind the rains. It might settle a couple of mistakes made and then give everyone a break, and then they'll go another 5-10 days. So when you talk about prevent plant, no, the acres aren't going to be there. That's a North Dakota, South Dakota, Upper Minnesota, Southern Mississippi. Give me a fringe acre, and I could see it not getting planted. When you talk about the ice states, I spent the weekend, and I did drive from Indiana over to Iowa, and on Saturday night or Saturday afternoon driving, I would have been like, "Wow, markets are going to open higher." I don't see anyone working, but my perception changed as I drove back on Sunday, and it's Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there yesterday. They were going everywhere, so it just interesting how you're like, oh, we're going to open higher, and then on Sunday you're like, we're going to open lower. In the end, we did open lower, but now we're not maintaining those levels, and that's interesting. Oh, you got a nice little planting chart in there. You want to
Yeah,
talk about that?
it's good to look, right? As you said, the Dakotas are going to be the first one to hit that prevent plant date, May 25th. That's the date. If you elect to take prevent plant, you can, right? Illinois, we're in the June 5th timeframe, right? So we've still got a good 3 weeks before we're going to even have that conversation. So, couple updates. Our coworker Luke Williams on the eastern side of Illinois sounds like they got a ton done. So it's going to be very interesting to see where planning progress comes out this afternoon. I gotta think we're still lagging behind that 5-year average. Surely we are, but it's going to be interesting to see how much progress we make and if that's going to reflect it. I got
Who's
another thing for
Shirley?
you.
Who's this lady Shirley who's new to the show? You said Shirley, we are Shirley. Hey, markets
Don't
are
call
coming
me
down a little.
Shirley.
Don't you call me Shirley? Oh, look at this little pretty thing. This is from our friend up in uh, Canada, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
he puts out
yeah.
Grain Perspective. Thank you for posting this on the internet. When you do that, we say thank you, and we're going to take a look at this. Tell me, is this a bingo card or what is this?
It is showing the planning progress, weekly U.S. corn planning progress by year, and so the big black number is the biggest jump we made week on week. And so I'm looking at this thinking it's going to be okay. 2017, 2018, when high speed planners were a big thing. That's where we're going to see the biggest jump. But from where I can see, Tommy, the biggest jump we've ever made is close to 30% in 2013. And I think high speed planners were around in 2013, but they definitely weren't widespread. So I don't think this is the week that we're going to make that 30% jump. Maybe I'm wrong, right? But it's going to be interesting to see. One, maybe not this year, maybe next year. We're going to see some unbelievable progress week on week.
Hmm. We didn't talk about what happened on Friday on the price action, really, did we? Want to go back a little bit? That was
Sure.
nice price action on Friday.
Yeah, just post USDA report.
Yeah, but now as I see beans lower, that doesn't surprise me. That bean, we did that live show, you and I and Brady, and it looked like we didn't know what we're doing. We couldn't speak, but there was so much numbers. And when we watched the corn pop, that was because there's 100 million less. But when I looked at the bean number, I was like, wait, that's bearish. And it's fun to try
Absolutely.
to watch stuff come out. If anyone thinks it's easy, you should try to have three people on, someone talking in your ear, go live during a report. But it was fun because it was interesting to see how the market digest that information. So now that we know that information, that we have no doubt we have a bullish scenario in wheat in the world, and we stayed so long at low prices, it doesn't shock me here. But the bean scenario is not bullish at all, and I feel like the corn's going along for the right. So the question I posed to a client this weekend, and it's a lot of what ifs, and it's kind of like analyst speak for we were right, but all these other things happen. Be glad all these things happen. Be glad that the weather overtook the fundamentals. But we have bugs in Argentina. We have too much rain in parts of Brazil. We have not enough rain in parts. We have, too hot, too dry, and a massive problem. It's starting to sound like in Russia, too dry with frost. We're slowly getting our crop in. I guess my question is, what if we wouldn't have had all that? And so with that, the funds are massive short covering, and we're only 470 July corn. That isn't exactly like go buy
I
a new lake house type of market.
I
470
agree.
corn with the funds covering hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of contracts. And the farmers not as long as they were. They're not nearly as long. So if the funds want to take this to neutral position and then bullish, go ahead. But boy, the time frame to do this, if they went from net short to neutral to long, would be a gift for the farmer because seasonally we make our highs in June. Go ahead, talk about this chart a little bit.
Yeah. So along those lines, right? We've been talking. Gosh, it feels like 2-3 months, probably longer than that, since we've done the show about how short the funds are, and if we get some bullish news, are we going to see that short covering rally? Guess what? Last week we saw some short covering just across the whole grain complex. I didn't want to break it down, but we covered a huge amount. Soybeans was probably the leader in my opinion. A big jump up, but as you can see, the heaviest short covering we've seen since 2019. One of the biggest week on week fund buying that we've seen this past week. And so, along your lines, I was thinking the same thing, Tommy, is that we saw this huge short covering rally. Prices are higher. It feels great. But you know what? These 24 is still below $5. So, what's that tell you? How much short covering do we have? How much farmer selling did we have last week as well, Tommy?
Right. Something else we'll break down in premium. We won't talk about it now, but we could continue to rally in futures and have an absolute bloodbath in basis as we come into the end of May and beginning of June. When all those that time frame of people have to price that grain based off that July futures, we may be in a higher market in a horrible basis situation, and we'll check in with the commercial guys with that. So we're approaching 80, 90 days that all grain needs to be moved before it has a birthday. Anything else you have on the PowerPoint or anything else?
Only other thing I have is this whole. We talked about it Friday where Biden was going to impose tariffs on electric vehicles. Hearing rumblings about we might also be including used cooking oil, banning used cooking oil imports from China. Why do we care, Tommy? Because that used cooking oil is really taking a lot of the renewable fuel, right? The renewable biodiesel. It's taking a big chunk, right? If refiners can buy that cheaper than they can buy soybeans or corn, what have you, they're going to do it. So this could be a if we see it come to fruition, could be a big win for the American farmer and could be a bullish story, right? Contrast to what we saw Friday with those bearish numbers. And so we'll see. It's still early, right? We don't know. I think he's going to announce that Wednesday, but it would be good to see, especially on the back of the GREET model when they included biodiesel, corn and soybeans in that renewable, sustainable aviation fuel, right? That wasn't really a big win. It'd be good to see something like this, Tommy. So we'll see if that comes to fruition.
Great point. Here's a weekly chart of soybean oil here, right here. Let's go to daily and just show people what
Yeah.
this price action. It may not look like a lot, but we eclipsed the prior day. And if you were short, it was a lot. If you were short down here, but let's look at a weekly and just look at how depressed soybean oil prices where we have to. This is a daily. We're going back to a weekly. Remember when we used to trade up at these high levels?
Yeah.
It's like a half off sale almost. I mean, these are crazy going back to that bull market of when soybean oil went from, call it 54 to 84, but we're down at 44. So the fact we could pop is not amazing at all. It's a market that's been heavily sold.
Yeah.
There's a whole biofuel play. It's really fascinating. Um, Before the show started, we were talking about KC wheat with Brady, and I believe KC wheat has a that area scheduled for rain. Wouldn't it be great if we grew big crops in America and someone else had the problem? Here's a weekly of wheat, and it would be just shows, it looks like wheat's exploding. Look at how high we were. Look at the amount of time spent here. Wheat was that depressed on the world level, and the very stinkers who did it was Russia. Now Russia's been blessed with a production problem. And you know what? That's okay with me. Uh,
Sure. Yeah.
if I find out that I'm no longer alive, then Putin got to me because he was watching ATI Pro Media. So speaking of Putin, I think he got rid of one of his big generals this weekend. I remember seeing a tweet that the head of the military was fired. I think over there it's worse than getting fired. Fired's the first step. The second part
you
is
you don't
yeah,
know it, but you took that job for life.
yeah, kind of like one of those deals. All right, what else? Premium content Friday, Saturday.
Yep.
Friday was Don Wick. Good stuff. Don wrapped up the week. Don spent the whole week uh, the week before in Washington. So he brings a Washington perspective. That's a beautiful picture there. That's where your tax dollars go, folks. Don brings a wonderful perspective of what's going on in Washington and DC. Always fun. And then I wrapped it up Saturday with just talking about solar storms, trouble in Russia, and funds buying. It's interesting to have a busy day on a Friday and then sit down on Saturday and say, what's it mean? And nothing's changed. It wasn't really that friendly beans. It was friendly corn. We're a little behind, and this wheat story really got going. Folks, if you're interested in subscribing to premium, go to www.atipromedia. It's $1 a day. You get a morning email. You get 6 videos, sometimes more. Last week we had 7 videos. You get text on actionable alerts, and you get a Friday beautiful, well put together email from Brian Basting and the whole crew and research. So it's just a nice way for a producer to look at the producer wire on a Friday. Not a bad little package for $1 a day, getting that little education piece. Met some really nice people. Had some nice comments and texts from new clients at ATI Pro Media. We understand, Connor, that futures and options aren't for everyone, but everyone has the right to information. And whatever you need, we hope we can bridge that gap between where you are with your bushel and actually getting it sold and turning it into money. All right, speaking of money, we got to start smiling dialing. Let's get into comments. Anything else you want to add? Anything we forgot?
No, the only thing I was gonna say is D's 24, right? We finally passed that 200-day moving average right now, or D's 25, D's 25. I'm sorry, Tommy. D's 25 sitting at 497, down about a penny, but getting close to that $5 level, right? I think that's something to be paying attention to.
Yeah, funny you mentioned that because when I get off the phone, I think we have a client who's going to put a big hedge on for D's 25, and he wants to get ahead of this. He was waiting. He said, if we ever got a rally like this, I need to do something. Not going to get so aggressive in 24 in case this runs, but he's going to put a aggressive hedge on in D's 25. It's not that everyone does that. Matter of fact, I wish it was more, but it's not as many as you think. Okay, Corey Ritter had a comment. Let's read that.
Yep. Could be wrong, but the planning progress surveys are done on Fridays. Most guys got going late Friday, early Saturday. Progress may be delayed till next week due to what got done on one Saturday on. And so
Oh,
if
that's
that's the case,
interesting.
I wasn't sure when they did the surveys actually, Corey. But if that's the case, then we're absolutely going to be behind that 5-year average and probably decently significant. We're going to lag. So maybe even if we made great progress over the weekend, huge progress, we're not going to see it Monday, and we'll be till next week. So interesting to see. We'll have to see at 3 p.m. today.
Yeah, I think the markets understand that also. Any more questions or comments? Joe's playing a 6-row planners rolling in Michigan. Old iron still runs. It runs well. Yeah, it gets it done.
You
It'd
love
be interesting to plant a whole field with old stuff and a whole field with new stuff and see how your yields are. Yeah, Joe's in England. Joe just left. My brother Joe just left Abbey. What do you say, Abbey? What's it called? Abbey Roads?
Abbey
Yeah,
Road.
yeah, Abbey Road. And yeah, he'll probably come back with all types of tattoos, purple hair, and he'll be all, "Hello, love, I'm back." Purple hair would be
You're
interesting because that could be a challenge.
I'm not
That
even
could be
gonna
a challenge.
try an accent. Every time I try and do an accent, my wife just says it's just offensive, Connor. Don't do it. So
When you go to London or Ireland or anywhere else, it's just like you realize how there's a whole world out there besides Central Illinois. And if you spend a lot of time in one area in America, you really start to think that's the world. But if you ever go travel the world, you're like, oh, we're just 300 million of the 7-8 billion people here.
yeah,
We're
well
pretty
said.
kind of yeah, get out there if you can, folks. Get out there. Hey, looking at the quote board before we go, let's take a trip down to LaSalle Street real quick,
Let's do it.
Rick. We'll read it up. Corn up 4, beans up 3, wheats cross board up 18 to 14 in Minneapolis. Cattle up, feeders up, nice. Hogs up. Gold is the only thing down. Bond market rallying. That means interest rates are going down. Stock market rallying because that's what stocks do. we'll see here for all the doomsdayers who thought the stock market was going to crash. They were wrong. Real quick note before we go, milk is absolutely on fire. Look at June milk approaching 21. Do
Do you
not have
think
a
that is that still bird flu related, or why?
I think that many cows had bird flu and produced that little of milk for a while. That is a very nobody got hurt. A couple people got pink eye, but the actual production of milk, no doubt, went down. And yeah, and I think a couple of the old girls went to town. And but this is a heck of a rally, regardless of why it's there. It is there, and these are actionable levels. All right, today after work, premium content. I'll break down the numbers. We'll go over the maps and look at some stuff. I think we're going to take a trip up to Michigan this week, go see how our friend Justin's doing. The commercial department's going to meet us. I'm having a hard time talking today. It's like I haven't done this for a few days and I forgot. Let's get warmed up here. The commercial department's going to stop by and talk about what to do. I'm really interested to see how their world has changed with this. Oh, we got a little bull trade going on here, right? So how is that grain flowing on the merchandising magic? Anything else, Connor B, you'd like to add?
Nope,
Oh,
nope.
let's talk about
Let's.
this real quick. This is a big deal.
Yeah. Billionaire quant investing pioneer and philanthropist James Simmons dies at 86. So this was your story, Tommy. Walk us through what this guy do. How was he so good? What do you say his net worth when he died was like 22 billion, or was it more than that?
Yeah, his wife gave it all away, which was pretty cool. So I'll ask you all this. It's not often we give you a homework assignment, but it would be very much if you love markets, if you love understanding why it seems like everyone loses in markets and this guy's winning, check out that guy, James Simons. He was a math genius who partnered up with another math genius, and they came out with a math model. It sat there and didn't do much for 10 years. And then physics people all around the world started picking up his math equation. Hey, you know the movie Good Will Hunting?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you know when they go to the board and solve a problem that can't be solved?
Mm-hmm.
And Goodwill Hunting's doing it. That actually happened with him. So if Goodwill Hunting was based off of anyone, he was in school and a professor said, "We've been working on this problem for years. Don't even bother. It'll make you miserable trying to figure it out." Week later, he's like, here's the answer.
How
He's
you
really
like
that
them
brilliant.
apples? He hit him.
Yeah. And so when you talk about markets, I know there's out there people saying they have quantitative models and AI and all this stuff. This man has extracted hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and maybe into the trillions of dollars out of the markets. And so he used math to become to really set up trades with extremely low risk and high profitability of breaking even, a scratch, or a small winner. And believe it or not, singles add up. And for him, it added up for tens of billions. So he literally was a math genius who went to a professor who invested a little bit of money, who became one of the greatest traders of all. And he never started doing interviews till his last maybe 5 years of life. And so I'd learned about him a year ago on a podcast. Kind of felt weird. I was like, this seems too good to be true. And his fund and the people who he taught how to do this math and use it to markets. This is why it's so important for you guys to go out and search his name and watch a YouTube video. You'll realize that there are so many people out there who have a greater advantage than us, than you, or anyone else. I guarantee at Advanced Trading, if we work with 60 brokers, I bet you 58 of them have no clue who that guy is. And he's the very reason that the markets are as efficient as they are. You didn't know who he was, right?
No. Nope.
And I barely knew who he was. And I went over to my parents' house on Friday night and they said, "What do you want to watch?" And I know my dad loves math and everything else. I said, "Why don't you pop up YouTube and watch this guy?" We watched 4 YouTubes on this guy. Just fascinating story. It won't be a waste of your time. Pop that up one more time, Rick, so people can see who that was. The greatest quant trader of all times, James Simon, dies at 86. And 99% of you have no clue who he is, and he's affecting your life every day. It's math, folks. Trust the math, trust the science, trust everything. Trust your gut. All right, go have a good day. Go have a good week. If we can help you, love to help you. We'll have out those progress reports here on Premium here this afternoon. Connor B, love the green shirt, good spirit. Brady Huck in the wings, smiling. He's all teeth, but not all internet over there. We'll work on him. He's got to call into Elon Musk. How about Luke that did call? You don't get the only thing that mess up Starlink is the storms, and you don't get those out there anyway, Brady. Take a look, folks, at your local cash markets. I think you might be happier than you were 3 months ago with the prices. We'll see you tomorrow, Connor.
Have a good one.
Thanks for joining us. We're here every day, 9 a.m. Central. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.